Hello guys, and welcome back to Joe's Ventures, and today we're going to be doing another episode of our kind of updates for Planet Zoo and things like that. And I really did not expect this pack to come as close as it did. I was expecting this one to come in August, because we have obviously the big Dominion thing in June, and then August, but apparently both are coming out in June, so I'm going to be swamped for the next month or two, so I guess it is what it is, but let's carry on. We've got a really interesting pack, and I think everyone just loves this pack. This is the Conservation Pack, which is a whole new theme they come up with, and we'll get into it talking about some of the wonderful work that zoos do about conservation and how they preserve the planet and things like that, so it's very interesting to have a look. But first we'll watch the announcement trailer. So that coming the 21st of June. So we're going to have a quick looky-loo about some of the stuff we see here. So we'll move out from here and go into our conservation pack announcement. So, hey all zookeepers, plot twist. You may have already been clued in our special stream yesterday that we have some exciting news. The next Planet Zoo pack will be the Conservation Pack, arriving the 21st of June. We're excited. We're sure you have questions about 1.10, and we'll have more news for that soon, but for now, let's look at the exciting stuff coming your way this summer. So, very interesting. We've got 5 new endangered animals and over 150 scenery pieces, which is really awesome. So, discover new 5 endangered animals from around the world and over 150 new scenery pieces with a strong focus on the amazing work that zoos do for conservation efforts worldwide. And these are some really good picks, I think. More, obviously more popular picks. There's some other really cool animals that kind of are in conservation need, but I can understand that this is as something to sell to everyone. This is very famous conservation stories, and plus animals that I think everyone likes. 2 of the animals on the meta wish list are basically first and second, so I think they did a good job at really picking these guys, so I can't really complain, especially with what the community wants. So, first we're starting with be in awe of the majesty of Mongolia's Przewalski's horse, the last true wild horse in the world, and is currently listed as endangered. So we can see a picture of it here, and it really looks wonderful. I'm a really big fan of how they really got that messy mane look. It really does look beautiful. So I believe there's only like a few hundred of these guys left with some conservation programs. And even recently they've been trying to clone them, and I think there was a one named Kurt a couple of years ago that he was cloned and bred from a domestic horse. And I think that was really, really cool, and it shows some really interesting conservation work going on there. They're technically a subspecies most of the time. They're Equus, so they're basically the wild version, quote-unquote, of the domestic horse, but that's a whole discussion that we don't really need to get into because there's some controversy there. So we've also got the Amur Leopard as it prowls, and it's an incredibly endangered leopard subspecies, we should say, from the border areas of Russia and China. So everyone's been asking for a leopard, and I'm really glad they picked the Amur leopard. It was kind of a toss-up between the African and the Amur, because obviously the African leopard is least concerned, so they're not really concerns about them going extinct. And the African leopard also kind of just fits with the more African theme. But our reason I think the Amur leopard works better is because it's critically endangered. I believe the population is only a few hundred, even more than 500, with plus a few in captivity. So not very many, and they're kind of with the Siberian tiger, very endangered. And also, it gives a different look. And it's quite common in zoos because there's breeding programs. African leopards are not very common in zoos. So typically, even when they have an Africa theme, they put a Amur leopard there because it works with the conservation. And also, there's just not that many African leopards in zoos. So I think that's also a really good pick. And plus, it's the one everyone wanted the most. And then we've also got Swing Freely with the endangered Siamang from protected areas of Indonesia and Malaysia, and is the largest of all gibbons. So Siamang's also a really good pick. I believe there's only a few thousand of them left. They obviously live in Malaysia and Sumatra. So they're very interesting gibbons, also the largest, as I mentioned, of gibbons. They've also got this big throat sac that really gives them a unique look. So I think adding them, though there's other cool gibbons, there's like 20 or so species of gibbons. These guys are also the largest, so that makes it the easiest kind of fit in the games, because it's obviously the biggest, it fits in the game best. But also, it's common-ish in captivity, and it's also, as I mentioned, endangered. And it's got that big throat sac that makes it a really interesting sound, so I think it's really just much more unique looking, at least. And for your only gibbon in the game, probably, I doubt whether we're going to get another gibbon. It just looks really distinct and different, and I like seeing Siamangs because my local zoos have Siamangs. Really, really interesting. And we also have, last of our habitat animals, we have the Scimitar-Horned Oryx, which is an antelope from North Africa that is now listed as extinct in the wild, though there have been some released into the wild from conservation programs. The Scimitar-Horned Oryx is a really good example of how conservation programs can really help animals in the wild, and now there's been some released into preserves and things. They're not quite not considered extinct in the wild anymore, but they're well on their way. And last but not least, we've got our exhibit animal, the Axolotl, and now this is a really interesting one. So this is our critically endangered new exhibit animal that was originally from Lake Chilau and Lake Zuchimilla. I can't speak Mexican very well, or Spanish, I'm not very good at that. But that's a very interesting pick because a lot of people think, oh, it's in the pet trade, there's lots of them around, but in the wild, they're actually basically nearly extinct because of pollution. Lots of amphibians, animals like that, are very, very sensitive to pollution. So in the wild, they're basically on the doorstep of extinction, which is very sad, but luckily there are some really good conservation programs that zoos are doing and universities, and along with all these other animals that are really helping their populations in the wild, so that's also very interesting, and hopefully recover. And what I'm also really excited about is builders also have a lot of exciting things coming for them too, with over 150 new scenery items to enjoy. So conservation is about more than just the animals, and to reflect that, you're in a real treat with the foliage included in this pack. And it's really cool they're talking about plant life conservation, which is very interesting. So plant life conservation is critical due to the unfortunate impact of monocultures and the depletion of natural water sources. That's a really big issue, especially monocultures, that really impacts biodiversity in a lot of areas. So like palm oil in Indonesia, that's affecting the Siamangs and Sumatran tigers and elephants and all them. And even just monocultures around the world, it just reduces the biodiversity of areas. And to highlight this, we've added some foliage species such as the tomato plant, fig tree, and Korean pine, so very interesting. And you also have sweeping meadow flowers such as buttercups, poppies, and oxeye daisies, so that's really interesting. Some really nice, beautiful flowers to add into this. I really like a lot of the flowers and stuff that they've added into this. And furthermore, you'll gain a range of other scenery items with a strong theme of self-sustainability, such as a set of wood and slate off-grid pieces, so the kind of the ones that you saw. A lot of conservation programs kind of use those kind of things because they're easy to use and all that. And there's also a new 3D printed concrete wall set, which is very interesting. There's like a whole recent thing about buildings being printed and 3D printed with concrete, and it's really, really cool. If you guys have seen those videos around, it's really interesting technology. It allows them to make houses quick and effectively, and obviously much cheaper as well. And glass roof tiles is awesome as well, and even backstage display only items such as rake hoses and wheelbarrows. So that's really, really awesome because I really do like fleshing out the backstage of the zoo. So adding all those kind of things really, really helps. And then you can see some of the items here. A bit wild with the Siamang things here, but you can see that 3D printed style. I actually really like that. It's got a really nice texture to it. Very, very interesting. Really fits that conservation theme. And then, feeling inspired to take up your own conservation efforts, give it a try with our new time scenario. Head over to Turtle Rock Wildlife Orphanage, where you're challenged to rescue, rehabilitate, document, and release as many animals as possible. Sustainability and education will also be a huge part of this scenario, so you'll need to power your zoos with renewable energy, host a range of plant diversity, and make sure there are plenty of educators for your guests to learn from. So that's very interesting. So the Planet Zoo Conservation Pack will be available as the same price as kind of normal for $9.99, all that, on the 21st of June. If you want to be notified, obviously, wish list and all that. And weirdly, we didn't get the update for 1.10 first, so it'd be very interesting to see what's coming. I really hope that we get some updates with the climbing, especially we got the Siamang with the brachiation added to the orangutan. That would be awesome. But yeah, we'll just have a look at other things we've got here. So really, really interesting. So let's move on to this here. So let's have a look at our wonderful Siamang. So this is obviously the Siamang. You can see that throat pouch and Raz Gibbons. And what everyone is like frothing over is this kind of new metal climbing pieces with brachiation. And for those who don't know what brachiation is, it's a kind of locomotion that, you know how the characteristic gibbon swinging through trees? That is what brachiation is. And it looks like they'll be doing it here. They kind of take one arm and then swing to the other arm and then swing to the other arm. That's how brachiation works. And everyone was like, where is it? We want to see brachiation because it's a thing that gibbons have and orangutans do it as well. And I think it's really awesome that we've managed to get a Siamang doing it. Everyone was like, we're not going to get it. And then we got it anyway. So it shows how Frontier really does listen to the community. And it's really, really awesome that we got it. And we got this new climbing pieces. I was really always looking for some new climbing pieces. I really hope we get more, because it was only the wood. I want to get like metal, and then maybe some ropes and things like that. I think climbing being expanded would be really, really awesome. And then we have next, no, we already saw this image really. And then we got another image of the Przewalski's horse. So that's really beautiful. Really love that matted hair. It looks really, really nice. I like the poppies and the flowers, and it really looks beautiful. And then we have some more. This is the 3D printed concrete. I actually really like this style. Very, very interesting. All green. It does fit that, you know, that green image, you know, that clean green image. I really do like that, with plants growing on the roofs and stuff like that. Very interesting. It's kind of almost like a nice message with plants growing on structures. It is really wonderful, I think. And then last but not least, we have the Scimitar-Horned Oryx, our extinct in the wild Oryx. And then we can see, it actually looks really nice. So we can see the long horns of the scimitar, and then we have the cute little baby, and then looking at it. And I think at the back there is another one of that 3D printed building style, which looks really, really awesome. And yeah, that's really, really cool. So this kind of just covers the same thing. So look out for brand new behaviors. So Siamangs can gather and perform new chorus calls, which is really awesome, and use their long limbs to nimbly swing through the metal climbing frames. So it seems like they'll be able to brachiate, which is also really, really awesome. All the scenery pieces we mentioned, like recycled glass house, outhouses, with new props and brooms and all that kind of mentioned. And then we have the orphanage, so that's pretty mentioned pretty well. So really beautiful. I'm a big fan of how this is coming out. The Planet Zoo Conservation Pack is going to be really interesting. It's a new theme as well. I really hope we get more packs like this. I want to see like a birds pack, maybe even a barnyard pack with a couple barnyard animals, and a lot of people would like that. Personally, I don't worry too much, but I know a lot of people would like the idea of having like domestic animals. Birds is something I'm really keen for. And obviously marine animals, but honestly, they can just pump out whatever they want almost. As long as it's of quality, I'll like it. So I think it's really awesome. So yeah, I really hope you guys enjoyed this video. I hope you guys like and subscribe. Always remember to get the little bell icon to get notified of anything. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Hope you guys like and subscribe, and bye-bye.